name is Kevin Fernandez, and welcome to my channel, Gamers Genie. Today, I'll be counting down my top 10 favorite games. Now this title is a mouthful, so pay with me. Just heed with me. It's my top 10 favorite non-competitive competitive games, and I know I owe you an explanation. So this list was actually inspired by one of my coworkers at my new job that unfortunately I feel a little uncomfortable actually saying what it is. So we're going to keep it on the hush-hush. I hope you guys don't mind. But I was working and I was telling one of my coworkers what I do for fun because they wanted to know what me and Jordan do for fun. I say Jordan likes to read books. Ironic, isn't it? She doesn't read the cards, but she likes reading books. And I will keep poking fun at her for that. But anyways, back to my story. So they said, well, I like playing board games, but I don't like how competitive they get. You know, everybody gets so competitive. And I said, well, you know, there's a lot of cooperative games out there that you can play. And even then they were like going, oh, well, you know, I don't like cooperative games. I still like a little bit of competition, but I don't like, you know, people like aiming to stab at each other for this. Now, that kind of inspired me, so that's why I'm doing my top 10 non-competitive competitive games. So these are games that are competitive. You are doing a player versus player setting. However, you're not really paying attention to what your opponents are doing. You're not really trying to block them, or, you know, there's not really that much of a take that element in the game. So this is for the people who really like to play some competitive games but don't like things to get too competitive. So without further ado, let's count down. Okay, so number 10 is Everdell by Starling Games. This game is one of my favorites. I don't really get to play it that often because I got the big old box of storage, and that gives everybody the big old box of terrors. This game is pretty simple, pretty easy to follow. It's not that competitive at all. You're really more focusing on your own town and trying to build that community up and everything, getting ready for the winter. You're really just focusing on your own things right there. Oh, good, I do have that on that list. So you get to play as like, so for the base game, there's like 4 different creatures. I believe it's squirrels, mice, turtles, and squirrels, mice, turtles, and the 4th one, I think it's rabbits. Maybe. I don't know. And then if you got the deluxe edition, you have rats. You add some rats. But then you can add other stuff. So like axolotls and otters and other animals as you expand this, and you place your workers. They gather like twigs and stones and berries and all sorts of stuff. Then you can play cards. So there's building cards and then there's creature cards. The creature cards you can play for free if you have the corresponding building with that. We do have a how to play video on this. Don't worry, I'll mention which ones we have how to play videos on and which ones we don't. You know, I like this one because it's competitive, but it's not really that competitive. The reason why it's number 10 though is there is still kind of a point mechanism that whoever has the most points wins. But you really are just focusing on what you want to build for your community. You're not going, oh, well, this isn't going to get me the most points, so I have to focus on this and ignore that other stuff. So yeah, number 10, Everdell. Okay, so number 9 is Wingspan by Stonemaier Games. You could also put Wormspan if you want in that too, because I feel like both of them are very non-competitive competitive games. These are both games where you're just kind of focusing on building. It's like an engine building game. You're just focusing on building your own coexistent, I want to say economy, but that's that's wrong. Ecosystem. Ecosystem. That E word is what I'm looking for, not economy. So this one you get birds. You gotta have them lay eggs. You can use like different types of food to bring them out. It's a really nice it's a really nice game. One of the nicest things about this game is you really are focusing what's going on in your board. What's going on if you're completing the goals. You're not thinking about the other players around you, like what are they doing. You're really focusing on what you're doing. It's the artwork's beautiful. The Beth Sobel artwork. It's Beth Sobel along with other artists, but I think as she's been getting more prominence, Beth has been getting a lot more. She's been kind of like headlining the projects versus like the other art. It's less like this and that and all these guys. Then it's just like one stuff, like what happened with Annie, with a lot of the like Forbidden games. So the artwork's beautiful, the gameplay's great. You can really just stick in focusing on what's going on with you, and you're not like, oh my gosh, that that guy got the bird I wanted. Like that might trip you up a little bit, but it's like 3 seconds maybe. I guarantee you 3 seconds and you'll be like, oh, okay, there's a bird that can help me out with this goal, whatever. And it's actually cheaper to play than the bird that my opponent took. Oh well. This is a great game. It's pretty relaxing. You're really focused on what you're doing and not what other people are doing around. Number 9, Wingspan. So, number 8 is Creature Comforts by Kids Table Board Games. I was kind of worried that I did not put that on the list. This was actually the game that kind of made me think of this. I don't know why I don't have it higher. Oh yeah, because I was just trying to see what I could scrabble together as a list, because this was a very last minute list. So this game is you get to, just like Everdell, you get these little animals. However, unlike Everdell, there's not like expansion upon expansion upon expansion where you can keep increasing it by like 4 animals and everything. I like to play as the purple animals. I believe they're squirrels in Everdell. Creature Comforts, not Everdell. I was comparing it to Everdell, but I'm talking about Creature Comforts. I like to play as the squirrels. My dad likes to play as the red foxes. His favorite color is red. Jordan kind of likes to play as the blue characters, but they're not the blue that she likes, so she's kind of like, eh. But Creature Comforts is you're trying to go out. It's a worker placement game just like Everdell, and you're trying to collect resources just like in Everdell. The difference between... actually, there's a lot of similarities between Everdell and Creature Comforts. Collect resources, use resources to make comforts, as opposed to buildings and then putting out like little workers. So you never have like townspeople that you're putting in there. It's comforts. So like a pantry, canned goods, board games, toys, a little rocking chair, a muffler, some socks, ice skates, all those fun things. And it's, you have like village dice, you have your own personal dice. It's, and we do have a how to play video on this one. So if you're curious about this game, feel free to click on the link. This game is a wonderful game. I think it's really good. It's very enjoyable, very cozy. Thus far, out of all the games that I've taught people at game nights and stuff like that, this is the one game where everybody, no matter like their level of gaming, has always said, I want to play this game again. They like playing it again. Because just like in Everdell, just like in Wingspan, you're really focusing on what you're doing, not what your opponents are doing. And you're trying to maximize your score as best as you possibly can. You're doing the math, you're trying to figure this out. Can I place this here? Will I get a lessons learned for this? It's really nice. It's really relaxing too, man. It's such a cozy little game. I love playing this game. I actually, when fall first started, I pulled this game out and I played it with my dad while Jordan was off at the doctor's appointment, I think. Or she was doing something with like her mom or something like that. I don't know. She was gone. The point is she was gone. But, you know, I know she likes playing this game too. Yeah, so yeah, number 8 is Creature Comforts. Okay, so number 7. This one, I'm not so sure if this will fall into this category, but I want to put it in here anyways, just so it's not like every game I've ever talked about before. Food Chain Magnate by Lucky Duck Games, at least on our side of the pond. In this game, you are a restaurateur, and you are opening up a restaurant, and you're the CEO of a restaurant. You're hiring employees, and you're focusing on everything. Now, the one thing I noticed is, now the reason why this is on this list, because this definitely, at least how me and my dad and Jordan have played this game, this is really a game where you do focus on what's going on with you, so much so that you can sabotage yourself to losing points to your opponent by skipping a step or something like that. So like, one of the things that both Jordan and my dad have done when we've played this game is they advertise that they have food before they cook the food. So they don't have any food. They got hungry customers coming to their restaurant, and they're like, hey, where's the food? And they're like, we have signs that say we have that food. It's like, where's the pizza? We have a sign that says we have pizza. Yeah, where is it? I want the pizza. And then I cook up the pizza, and I go, hey, I actually have pizza. And they go, oh, we're gonna go to that guy's restaurant. And yeah, so this is one of the reasons, so you can really get too focused on what's going on with you. And this is one where you definitely should focus on what's going on around other people. But yeah, you can get caught in your own little world. And then of course, you know, it was so funny, I really thought I was going to lose because I had so many employees that I had to pay on payday. But even with the payday and everything, I was actually having so much influx of cash because my dad was, he was advertising all these foods and drinks that he did not have. So I had the only working refrigerator. So he had to throw out all his food at the, when that was going, because they all went bad. So, you know, this game is pretty fun. It's really enjoyable. Like, of course, we're not a review site, but like, you know, unfortunately, this is a game that was originally created in another country where English is not the first language. So there's a couple things that was lost in translation a couple times, but you get it. It doesn't hurt it in any way. I'm just saying you might notice some weird things here and there that we don't really focus on. At least in America. I don't know. I'm only going to speak for like Americans. I can't really speak for the rest of the world. Yeah. But yeah. It doesn't. The order that they put the rule book in is perfectly fine. Everything. This game is perfectly understandable. Unfortunately, I do not have a how to play video on this game. I'm kind of trying to figure out how I'm going to do it because it looks kind of tricky from some of the few people who did make a how to play video on this game. So yeah, I'm just going to have to figure that out when we get to it. Of course, that this game won't make it to the poll until next year, so you'll just have to be patient and wait for that. But yeah, number 7 is Food Chain Magnate. Okay, so number 6 is a game that unfortunately passed away in 2020. But another company saw its potential and decided to bring it back. And we like to thank them for that. Number 6 is Scoville by Trick or Treat Games. Yes, that company that makes Halloween and Chucky and Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Yeah, they made their own version of Scoville. This one, they took the rules from both the base game and the expansion, and they kind of just combined them. A lot of second editions usually do that. But all in all, it looks very similar It's not the same. They did change a couple stuff here and there, but it's relative. A lot of the stuff is just relatively the same, like moving your farmer, planting the peppers, harvesting peppers. The recipe, how you get recipes, that changed a little bit, but all in all, yeah, this game you're really focused on what you're doing, moving through the pepper plantation and all that stuff. There's an update in artwork. I don't know how you guys feel about it. I feel pretty okay about it. I got like the first edition, so I'm not gonna complain that much. But yeah, this is a nice game. I definitely find myself just focused on what I'm doing. It's really interesting because it's like a chili cook-off too. There is some contest elements, but I don't really seem to care what my opponents are doing. So yeah, this is a wonderful game. Thank you, Trick or Treat, for bringing this back. Restoration Games. We were hoping you were going to do it, but thank you, Trick or Treat, for doing this. I'm not going to shame Restoration Games though for that. Don't hate on them. They brought back so many wonderful games. I mean, I think they deserve a little bit of a break. Well, we can't always say, hey, Restoration Games, bring this back, and hope that they bring it back. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of hoops you gotta jump through to do stuff like that because it's a game that already exists. Someone already created it and published it and everything like that. So I don't quite know how the board gaming publishing world works. But yeah, number 6 is Scoville. Okay, so number 5 is Azul Summer Pavilion by Next Move Games. This is one of a personal favorite of mine. I do love this one, and yes, this one is one where you definitely focus on what you are doing. Even though there is the only competitive part I would say about this game is people taking tiles like, oh, dang it, I want those purple tiles, but Jordan took all the purple tiles. Why, Jordan? Why? And it's like, well, I'll just get her back. I'll take all the blue tiles because Jordan likes blue. And, well, I think no matter what version of... this could go for like any version, including the original version of Azul. I just picked Summer Pavilion because I can advertise the how to play video I made on this. Yes, that is true. It's all for a marketing ploy. But I do like, well, the two that I've played. I've only played the original and Summer Pavilion. I haven't played the other ones. But yeah, Azul is definitely a game where you're focusing on what you're doing and really you alone, working on your score, trying to get across that board, getting as many spaces as you feel. Although granted, Jordan is massively good at this game. I do not know why, because one time she got really, really close to having a complete board. I kid you not, she almost had a complete board. She was just like, I think, 2 tiles away from a complete board. And so if we went one more round, she would have had a completed board. I have no clue what happens then. I guess you get you win the lottery then, I hope. At least I hope. But you know, the tiles in every version is always gorgeous. The rules are usually pretty simple, so you can kind of get into the game pretty quickly. You really are just focusing on what you're doing and what you alone are doing. It might start off as you're focusing on what your opponent's doing, but eventually you'll get kind of caught up in, okay, I almost have this finished, and I almost have that finished, and I almost have this finished. So you're more caught up in what you're doing. You get more caught up in what you're doing as the game progresses. But yeah, number 5, Azul Summer Pavilion. Okay, so number 4 is Ticket to Ride by Days of Wonder. Now, I decided to go for the original Ticket to Ride. I know I could have picked like a ton of different versions, especially since I have featured a lot of different versions of Ticket to Ride on this channel. I featured 3 of the main game maps. I've also, well, 4 main game maps. I did US, Europe, Netherlands, not the Netherlands, not yet, Nordic countries, and Rails and Sails. And then I did the Heart of Africa, and I think recently we did, well, honestly, I can't remember. I think it was India. Was it India? No, it was Asia. We did Asia recently. That's right. We recently did Asia. But I wanted to pick the U.S. map because the U.S. map doesn't have all the added like obstacles and stuff. So, you know, the whole point of this game, the whole point of this list is we're trying to pick games that don't make you freak out because of how competitive it is and everything like that. And you're like tugging on your collar like, oh my gosh, I'm going to lose. No! Yeah, the other maps would probably cause you to do that. US really, it has nothing that causes you to get rid of train cars or anything like that. If anybody blocks you, it is usually purely by accident. Although there was one time we did play a game of Ticket to Ride with someone who was like really, really new to board games, and she kept on trying to intentionally block us because that's what she thought you're supposed to do, because she's so used to board games where you're like constant, like sorry and stuff like that. Sorry, Parcheesi, you know, where you block people from getting to the goal. But that's not the case with this game. This is a game where if you block someone, it is purely by accident. At least that's how, you know, we've played it. It's always been by accident. I've never played a game where I've been like, let's see. Well, if I go this way, I'll complete my route, no problem. But if I try to go the long way, I'll block Jordan from doing whatever it is she's doing. I don't know. The one reason why I don't encourage, though I do not, if you are new to this game or board gaming in general, I really encourage you, please do not try to block your opponents. I did that one of my first games, and I learned the hard way that when you try to go out of your way to block people, it actually hurts you more than it hurts them. But all in all, it's a great game, great for beginners, pretty relaxing. You don't really focus on what your opponents are doing that much, unless they start running out of trains. Then you're like, okay, so let's see. Jordan's got she's got about 10. My dad's got like, he's still got about almost 20. And so, you know, that person's got like 5, so I gotta watch out for that guy. You know, that's when you start to pay attention to what your opponents are doing, because you're like, okay, how many rounds are we gonna go before we hit the end game conditions? But yes, number 4 is Ticket to Ride. Okay, so number 3. This one actually we did put on the channel by a request by a viewer just like you. And we are still taking requests. Even though we have the poll, we are still taking requests. But this one, number 3, is Disney's Happiest Day. This is a game where you're just walking through Disney World. Walking through the parks, enjoying the attractions. And you get to play as the Fab characters of the Fab Five. Mickey, Minnie, Donald, Goofy, Daisy, and Pluto. No Chip and Dale, sorry. But you go through the maps. You go through the Magic Kingdom, and there's no Fast Pass, no Multi-Pass, whatever they're calling it. There's not a billion people trying to grab strollers and take them away from you, so you never get a stroller. There's not a billion people trying to get wheelchairs so they can get all the way to the front of the line. You know, this is just, you go through the parks, you go to all these different attractions. A lot of these attractions don't really exist now anymore, and I'll tell you, because one of them is Splash Mountain. But anyways, there's a day side of the board, so you go through that. But once Tinkerbell makes it to the top of the castle, then time is up and you have to flip the board over to the night side, where the paths change, because as you guys know, this is like really accurate to the Disney parks. They close off routes so that way they can make space for people who want to watch the fireworks and everything like that. So this really, they did their homework. I like that. And then once you get to the top again, the fireworks go off and you end the game by counting out your score. The player with the highest score wins the game. This one, you really are focused on what you are doing, even though there's a point system, but you're not really focused on the point system. It's like, I mean, it would go against the theme of the game. When you're at your Disney vacation, you're not focusing what the family like down like 5 blocks down Main Street is doing. You're focusing on what your family's doing. You're not like, oh, okay, so we need to go see the Country Bears, but that family over there is going to Adventureland, so we're going to go there just so we can beat them. No, we don't do that. We don't do that. Maybe you guys do that. I don't know. I don't know how you vacation. But yeah, I like this game. I like to play as Donald. Jordan has this obsession of always playing the romantic opposite of the character, which is kind of silly, in my opinion. I'm like, just pick your favorite character. But she can't play as Belle, so she's stuck. But I do like playing this game. This does have, I think this is a pretty good family game. It says 5 and up, ages 5 and up. It's for 2 to 6 players. Mickey, Minnie, Donald, Daisy, Goofy, Pluto. Okay, yeah. I'm like, but okay, so yeah, it's a 6-player game. We do have a how to play video, so feel free to check that out. See if it's a game for you. Number 3, Disney's Happiest Day. Okay, so number 2 is Blue Lagoon by Blue Orange Games. This is a game where you are playing as Polynesian explorers, voyagers, kind of like in Moana. Yeah, that's right. I'm going to use a Disney reference to try to explain this. So if you like Moana, you probably could get into this game, no problem. Just like Disney's Happiest Day, there are two modes that you can play in this. So first is your exploration, where you place all your boats and trying to connect these islands through like some sort of a I can't even really think of the word. So you try to connect it by placing people in canoes versus people who are just walking around on the beach to make like big archipelago. I believe that's the word I'm looking for. This helps you increase points. You're also collecting like coconuts, like little tikis, all sorts of cute things. This is a pretty good game. It's well quality. I think it's made by it's made by Reiner Knizia. This one it's a 2 to 4 player game. It's for like ages 9 and up. Takes like relatively 30 to 45 minutes to play the game. I think that is based off of player count. Mostly, this game you do focus a lot on that. There's not that much blocking in this game. I at least the way I play it, like I said, you guys might make it a little more competitive. We do have a nice little how to play video on Blue Lagoon, so feel free to check that out. I like this game. It's really wonderful. Again, if you're a big fan of Moana, maybe you want to check that out. It's got a lot of that kind of Polynesian flavor to it. It's a really great game, great mechanics. But once you go through that second mode, then you change, and mostly what you're trying to figure out is stuff that's going on the islands, and how do you maximize your points there. The player with the most points wins. A lot of the times I do find myself just focusing on what I'm doing and not what my opponents are doing. I feel really relaxed when I play this game. It's a really enjoyable game. Highly recommend it. Number 2, Blue Lagoon. Alright, number 1, and I was kind of stuck on this one, so I think I might split it a little bit. I'll talk about the one that I'm going to split it with, but I'm mostly going to focus on the one that's number 1, which is Calico by Flat Out Games. The other one I was kind of mulling over was Cascadia. So both of these games are tile placement games. Both of these games have like octagonal pieces and everything. I went with this one just because it's cats and people seem to be more calm when they see pictures of cats. I don't know why, but they do. Not that people don't find a calming sense in nature, but they got grizzly bears, so I just felt like it made people feel uncomfortable. But whatever, if you whatever. But in this one, you're trying to make a quilt. I always feel like that alone should be a reason enough to feel a little more relaxed. You're trying to build a quilt. You put little buttons on it. If you get like a certain pattern, then you can attract cats, which will get you points. Oh, I've been talking for a while. The player with the most points, of course, wins the game, but a lot of the times I really just find myself focusing on what's going on my board with my cats, my quilt, all that stuff. I'm not focusing on what Jordan's doing. I'm not focusing on what my dad's doing. I'm not focusing on what anybody who I'm playing this game with is doing. I really just focus on what I'm doing. I know that Flat Out Games is making another game in the Calico universe. I do not know if this one will have that same vibe to it. It looks like it might, from what we saw at Gen Con. It looks like it might, but we'll have to see. Yeah, I love this game. I believe we do have a how to play video on this one too. If we do, I'll definitely put a video on that. So you can feel free to check that out. But yeah, number 1 is Calico. Well, there you go. There's my top 10 favorite non-competitive competitive games. If you have any non-competitive competitive games, basically competitive games that feel to you like it's not very competitive, please put them in the comments below. I'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions. If you also disagree with my top, some of the ones on my list, let me know that as well. We need to have a nice little conversation about this stuff. Because the whole point of this, the whole goal of this channel is to get people who not only like board games and are big fans of this hobby and everything, but we want to try to attract people who are not there, who wouldn't really think about doing stuff like this, to do that. And that's why I made this list, because I just had a conversation with a friend of mine, and it just made me think of this list, and I thought I'd try it out. But anyways, if I haven't said it already, please give this video a like, hit that subscribe button, and ring the notification bell. And if you're feeling in a charitable mood, gotta remember it's still in that we're in that charity time. Please consider donating to Books for Africa. This is a charity that is trying to battle illiteracy in Africa, and they do that by giving books, both fictional and non-fictional. They also do educational books. What I mean by educational books is math, science, etc., etc., etc. To these facilities, so that way they can battle the illiteracy that's going on in Africa. So they do a wonderful job. I'll leave a link to that in the description below. You can, of course, donate money. You can donate books, both fiction and nonfiction. And, of course, the one thing that can really help the most, of course, is to spread the word. This really is a wonderful charity. Jordan and I have given it a shout out in the past. We did it last year. We do really think this is a good charity, and they deserve all the attention that they can get. So yeah, click on the link in the description below, check them out, and see what they're all about. Be on the lookout for our last top 10s list of the year. But until then, thanks for the views.